A shadow loomed over my childhood, a black cloud I couldn't name as a boy, but now recognized as the crushing weight of mental illness, and a family that couldn't see my true self. I was born into a home where love was scarce, and attention was my father's treasure, hoarded with a ferocity that left no room for anyone else. Shaped by his own father's abuse, he became a narcissistic psychopath, viewing me, my mother, and my sister as mere tools to bolster his ego. Empathy and compassion were absent from his world. He demanded every ounce of praise and sympathy, and if I was sick, hurting, or celebrating a small victory, he saw it as a theft of his spotlight. I can still see him retreating to his bed when I was up all night with a fever. My pain and inconvenience he dismissed. He was never there for my triumphs, nor for my mother or sister. I longed for the simple joys other kids had, playing catch with their dads, cheering at Little League games. My father never tossed a baseball with me. I now understand he kept us from sports or any pursuit where we might shine, because our success would force him to share the attention he guarded so fiercely. He had no true friends, consumed by jealousy. A neighbor's new car was inferior to his. A coworker's promotion was undeserved. A friend's wedding was flawed. His words were venom, and as a young boy I absorbed them, unaware of the seeds of self-doubt they planted, as Socrates might warn, in an unexamined life lacking the wisdom to question such poison. My mother was a ghost, avoiding conflict at all costs. She echoed my father's gossip and criticism to keep the peace, but with her parents she'd shift, adopting their kinder views. It was as if she had two selves, adapting to whoever held the room, a persona, as Carl Jung might describe, masking her true self to survive. I now believe she formed an emotional bond with her abuser, my father, like Stockholm Syndrome. He wielded financial control to keep us dependent, making us feel we owed him our very existence. Every breath, every moment, was a debt we could never repay. Growing up, we had little, and even when things improved, his grip tightened. Any mistake was a reminder that we owed him our lives. At 13, the storm inside me broke. My first nervous breakdown hit, and I was diagnosed with panic attacks and constant anxiety, a relentless fight or flight state that left me trembling. Beneath it were ADHD and OCD, but my obsessive compulsive disorder was so intense it drowned out everything else. My mind was a battlefield of intrusive, looping thoughts I couldn't escape, what Jung might call the shadow of my psyche erupting, unintegrated and chaotic. School became a nightmare. My freshman year of high school was the hardest of my life, a blur of isolation and fear. While other kids dated, joined clubs, or chased dreams, I was trapped, unable to leave the house. Depression settled in, not as an intruder, but as a natural response to a life where I felt unseen and unloved. Back then, doctors labeled it a chemical imbalance, a term we now know oversimplifies the truth. My family didn't lift me up. My parents, sister, and even extended relatives branded me the sick one, my identity reduced to doctor visits and prescriptions. No one spoke of my future, of marriage, a career, or happiness. Unlike families who dreamed of their kids' weddings or grandchildren, mine saw me as a problem to manage. My parents, narcissists in their own way, needed me dependent to feed their sense of control. They kept me in a half life, never meant to thrive independently, a state Jung might describe as a failure to individuate, to become my true self against the collective pressures of family. By my sophomore or junior year, the numbness was suffocating. I felt like I was fading, detached from my own humanity, as if I were no longer a person but a shadow. In that darkness, I turned to cutting as a coping mechanism, a desperate response to the overwhelming pain of OCD, anxiety, and depression. Jung would likely see this as an attempt to reconnect with the body's primal reality, a way to ground the fractured psyche when the shadow, the unacknowledged pain, threatened to consume me. Cutting wasn't about destruction. It was a medical response to my mental illness, a way to anchor myself when I felt adrift in a void. It became a lighthouse, a fleeting moment of clarity that brought me back to myself when I was lost. My family saw the signs, marks of my struggle, but they looked away and it became part of our broken routine. I covered those marks with tattoos, layers of ink to reclaim my body and hide the scars of my coping. But true healing came later, through a resilience I didn't know I had. At 52, I stand as living proof that you can overcome even the darkest struggles. Cutting was my way of surviving back then, but I found better ways to cope: writing, exercise, creating something meaningful. As I shared in an earlier reflection, I learned to channel negativity into productivity, tidying my soul as I tidied my surroundings, storing that energy for acts of love and benevolence. My greatest triumph is that I didn't become like my family. I have empathy, compassion, and a heart that cheers for others' successes, embodying what Jung called individuation, the journey to my authentic self. I've always dreamed of being a husband, a father, building a family of my own. At this age, I fear that dream may have passed, but if I can help someone else chase theirs, that's enough. I found a new lighthouse, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He replaced the pain of cutting as my guide, leading me back to reality, aligning with what Jung might see as the archetype of the self, a unifying force for healing. I'm not saying you must follow my path. I've met beautiful souls of all faiths, Buddhists, Muslims, and others, each with their own light. As a trained philosopher, I also found refuge in logic, echoing Socrates' call for an examined life. Studying philosophy helped me unravel the irrational thoughts of OCD, giving me tools to navigate my mind. It's one reason I'm still here, and I urge anyone battling intrusive thoughts to explore it. At 52, I've overcome cutting, emerging stronger, wiser, and more capable than I ever imagined. The pain of my past didn't break me, it forged me, as Nietzsche's wisdom reminds us. That which does not kill you makes you stronger. Every tear, every struggle, built a resilience that defines me today. If you're using cutting to cope with mental illness, know this: you're not trying to destroy yourself. You're fighting to survive a medical condition, whether OCD, anxiety, depression, or something else. As Jung might suggest, it's a cry from your shadow, seeking integration through pain. Give yourself credit for facing a titan of trauma, for waking up each day to battle it. Survive the moment, the hour, the day. Find healthier ways to cope: writing, creating, moving your body. Productivity fuels joy, as I've learned through channeling my pain into purpose. And you're stronger than you know. No one should assume another's life was easy. Instead, assume that every person you meet has faced painful challenges, battles that have shaped them into who they are today. I'm here at 52 because I overcame mine, and those struggles made me stronger, wiser, and more capable of helping myself and others. You too are here because you fought your own wars, whether visible or hidden. Every scar, every tear has built you into someone resilient, someone who can lift others up. Your pain doesn't define you, it refines you, as Nietzsche's philosophy and Jung's psychology affirm, forging a soul capable of authenticity and compassion. Find your light, your healthier coping tools, be it faith, philosophy, or creativity, and keep fighting. You will overcome just as I did. God bless you. You are stronger than you know.